they'll be calling me royalty.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to IRC F1 League Racing. We are back with our 11th season here. Round 1 at Australia. I am SimplyYT. Joining me is Deepak Raj. Hello, Deepak.
Yep. Hello, Simply. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely amazing, and I am very excited for this upcoming season. How about you, Deepak?
Yeah, same here. It's an absolutely fantastic Sunday afternoon, and we are back league racing, and we are back with a live stream after quite a bit of a break, I would say. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to how this race pans out, and looking forward for an absolute banger of an opening.
Absolutely. We have a few faces on our grid today, and we of course will be having a great look at them as they will obviously set themselves up and of course set their expectations as to where they are with our obviously veteran drivers. But before that, let's have a quick look at the very track video. Deep, like to go.
Yep, certainly. So we are racing in Melbourne Park today. With all its changes now, it is much more flowing with all the chicanes, and you got almost 4 DRS zones over here. So a lot of DRS zones, a lot of straights, a lot of chances to overtake now. Unlike the old layout, which had a lot of sections where the momentum was just getting blocked, but still the turn one is going to be absolutely chaotic with its setup as usual.
Certainly, and that is a great explanation by Deepak. A few places where we would need to get overtakes would be turn one. Then after the second DRS, going into the very infamous fast chicane that we've all seen. That is also a lot of fun. Looking at the grid today, we have a few old faces, of course. We have APD, Zan, Parth as well, Jose Hero, who are, in my opinion, will be fighting for the WDC here in Tier 2. Unless you have some other opinions about it.
Yeah, like you said, those guys are veterans, been with IRC for quite a while. They put on some absolutely great performances in the past seasons, and they're known quantities. So, of course, yes, they're safe to bet on, but do not discount the new drivers as well. I think you got a total of 6 new drivers this season, which is really great to see, and any one of them could be a dark horse that could upset the whole potential balance of the season. So, really looking forward to what kind of play they're holding on to, and really looking forward to see the pace on track. Yeah, very exciting times ahead.
Certainly. We just have the drivers quickly joining the grid. We apologize for the minor delay. But yeah, I mean, we saw some amazing racing over here in real life F1 just last season in 2023. Absolutely chaos ensued throughout the whole track with both the Alpine drivers taking each other out. We expect to see the same thing because these guys are in a bit of a rust situation right now, in the sense that they haven't really been playing the game, and the last time that they played is during the Regents Cup, or of course for the new guys even before that. So do you think that perhaps we could see a few safety cars come out here and there.
Yeah, I mean, historically speaking, this race, be it real life or in the game, it is known to have a certain number of safety cars here and there. Because I mean, the turn 1 and 2, it's a perfect recipe for disaster. It's so easy to get in a collision course with other cars because it's very tough to go side by side. Of course, you can do it, but it requires a lot of skill to do that. So you might see people who are getting too eager on the restarts or race start or anything of the sort, and putting themselves into a very tough spot, putting themselves into damage, and maybe even potentially DNFing out of the race and bringing out safety cars. So that is always a possibility. And if you were to ask me, I would be baking that into my strategy and probably be careful about that kind of stuff, because historically speaking, this race, it has always rewarded people who have taken it conservatively, if you know what I'm talking about, rather than going for aggressive
Yep.
approaches. Just hold your position, keep applying pressure on the driver up ahead, and force some mistakes on, and you are going to get a good position if you just keep your nose clean and no track penalties. That's how it has always been for this particular track. So yeah, really looking forward to see what kind of tactics the drivers will be employing here.
I think you have to just let the driver ahead of you make a mistake and put pressure on them, because it's easy to lock up tires in this game, and especially on this track, even easier to do that. With the the varying mix of high speed as well as slow speed corners, I think it is in their best interest to not try and make a risky move, while also, of course, keeping their noses clean, because even the slightest bit of damage, and yeah, that's pretty much your race over.
Yep. Especially if you're going to start on something like, let's say, a medium tire. You might want to keep your nose clean because, well, if you're going to get a lap one damage, you're going to get boxed into a very uncomfortable strategical situation, because you're left with only two options, which is either a soft or a hard, both of which are bad for their own reasons. Soft will not last longer, and hard, as we know, it's quite a bad tire to be on, and you do not want to be finding yourself with that compound. So, yeah, gotta be extra careful around that.
Absolutely, and the drivers are readying up right now, so we'll be on to the game very, very shortly here. But yeah, the hards, unless you're starting all the way from the last and just hope to have this very aggressive strategy, it makes no sense to go on. As you said, medium, soft or soft medium, any variations of will be the perfect strategy.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And yeah, just give me one moment. I'll be right back. Got something to attend to.
Sure, no worries. While we are loading into uh session really, really quickly here. Few people in chat, of course, Faizan always does. And yeah, we are in. So looks like it is going to be slightly cloudy today. Let's see for how long that does last though. Game. Okay, everything pretty willing to come out of the pits just yet. Very nice variation. A lot of teams already formed. I think Vipul Alpine today. Almost a minute done already in qualifying, and clearly nobody willing to go far. And no, my game is not bugged. It's just that these guys genuinely do not want to go out right now. So I think someone needs to tell them that the qualifying has started, that they can go out, and the timer appears to have reset. I wonder if there is happening right. Taking their time to come out. Nobody really wants. Oh, just as I say that, Rossi is the car that will be coming out. The first Williams breaking the cherry of the tier 2 guys. First car out. the astronauts. Guys have a lot to prove. These are big, and those guys uh, are out on track, but are also new, so they have a lot of talent. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, a great name from him, and with our president driver. Guys are all on outlaps. Best way to warm up tires in is by using brakes rather than leaving. Obviously, adds a lot of tire, whereas brakes does not really. Clearly, not following that strategy. I think a lot of people don't know about such, but no worries. Let's keep watching on board with Rossi then. Um, Starting his lap. Deepak, are you back?
Yep, I am here. Sorry for that little interruption there. And I think I'm right back on time. We're on for the first hot lap, and we see Rossi. I think that's how it is pronounced. I think he's about to start his lap, and he's attacking turn one. He's quite conservative, if you had asked me, and little sliding moments here and there. So I think he is facing a bit of a control issue there, but he seems to be keeping it going for now. It's typically conservative as it is usually in the banker lap. So I'm pretty sure he has a lot more time left, at least in these few corners, at least, because we, as you know, you can extend the track a lot more over there.
The track limits are very unfavoring as well if you take too much leniency on them, because instantly you can get your lap invalidated, as well as an immediate this and next lap also in some kind of corners. So we will see what Koushik can do. No, he's keeping it within track limits, slightly on the edge there. Nothing too much to worry about. Though coming up on a bit of traffic, might be blocked here, but so far so good.
Yep, so far so good. He's sitting. Oh, and I think has he aborted, or is it just traffic? I think it's traffic. That is very sad to see. Drivers need to be a bit more aware of the surroundings over there, and it kind of looked for a moment that he was about to abort his lap, but I think that was not happening. So yeah, this is another issue in this particular track. You always got to keep the separation and make sure you have space ahead. Sometimes that doesn't really happen. The drivers need to be very much focused about this and keep an eye out. As you can see, the Aston Martin of Big B is coming up right behind another Alpine. I think it's the same Alpine, is it?
Also
I'm not
blocked.
really sure. Yeah, also blocked. So things are not looking that good for the Alpines over here. I think both the Alpines are involved in their own impeding incidents. So that's something that the stewards are going to be having a look at.
Yeah, and Whipple comes across the line. Never mind, Joseph beats that instantly with a 19.3. Already setting the benchmarks for this. On board with Vettel Bihari Vajpayee, also known as Ashwin Nat, coming across the line with the DRS turned on. Perfect last corner from him. He comes across the line to set a 19.6, only 3/10 separate. And Vettel Bihari Vajpayee, not bad. His teammate Aishwarya Rankanen also doing a 120.4. Both the Haas guys quite close to each other and clearly looking to come.
Yep, the Haas guys have some interesting naming there, and BK19 smashes that time and goes with a slightly faster 3:05. So not a lot separating at the top, but still a lot more time to go and a lot more lap times to come in.
Certainly, a lot of improvement being made from these guys. Missed one of our veteran drivers in Ferrari. Further Tifosi coming across the line now. A 19.7, a 10th off of Vettel Bihari Vajpayee. And oh my god, the Alpine guys pushing Mist off. I think Mist anyways was done with the lap, but if he was deciding to go on for another, that will not be ideal for him. And yeah, the Alpine guys clearly are going to be getting a few reports coming towards them.
Yep, clearly it looks like an issue with track awareness and general awareness of the surroundings. So yeah, those guys definitely got to keep an eye out on the track map. And you see Wizard of Oz is coming in with 17.8, the first proper lap of the day coming in from Wizard of Oz. Great lap.
Amazing. While this half of the pack obviously has set a lap time to some extent, see quite a few other guys on their out laps once again, of course, some of them being the Alpine drivers of Poke Player and Major Whipple, also Whipple as it says on screen. And yeah, quite a few opinions in regards with the drivers and their names already coming in. Faizan saying Haas has the best names, which I think everyone agrees
Yep.
at this point. I mean, they are very comical names, but also very good to look at with, very good wordplay. Aishwarya Rai ka Aishwarya Raikkonen, Patel Bihari Vajpayee. So great wordplay from these guys, just showing that they are in a fun spirit to get the season started. And yeah, really shows P4.
Yep. I mean, we are here to see racing, of course, but it's nice to see some creativity on show here. So, yeah, great going, guys.
Steel Sneeze has begun his lap now.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
on a hot tap by the looks of it.
coming on the extremely long straight because they had removed the chicane of 45-0. Not sure whether that aligns up with the other drivers. Kindly ignore what the track map says, as that just goes purple for any driver at any point if they are improving even slightly.
Like I said, that's just the Cody's way of encouraging you that you're the fastest sector. So, yeah, it's a feature, guys.
Yes, it's a feature, not a bug. Encourages the driver to go.
Yep. As you see, he's tackling the final corner and looks to be all good so far. Let's see what kind of time he's about to put up on the board. And that's an 18.2. That's a very respectable lap time. So, yeah, I mean, clearly the times are going up as we go on.
Yeah, these guys, a lot to improve. Faizan saying Wizard is tier 1 pace. Well,
That's a tall
clearly,
claim.
exactly, clearly he is, but we could also point it down to the fact that a few drivers have not really been up to pace so far. They're taking their time adjusting, and of course are getting into a couple incidents with the Alpine guys as well. So we'll give them some time. They have 9 and a bit minutes left in this qualifying, plenty of time to improve and showcase what they can actually do.
Yep, I mean, as it is always, you make an assumption with every single factor that you have at the start, and then you assign the grids based on that. But and we see another Alpine's having a very eventful quali, I would say, but not good events. But yeah, and we see the Williams of Rosie has also gone into P3, so things are looking starting to get a bit tight up in the top 5. So that's always a good thing to see a tight quali. But like I said, there's still a lot more time to go, and it's gonna be an interesting qualification as far as I can see. You see, ABD is on his hot lap. He's running into quite a bit of traffic, and he's coming up to a Ferrari, and he almost loses the traction there. So he's flirting a bit on the edge of the traction there. It was very close, but yeah, the Ferrari aptly moves out of the way, so that's all good for him at least.
Yeah, that was close with the Ferrari as well. I think they got just too close to comfort there. And for whatever reason, APD is not using his ARS. That could also be a bug. Parth retiring from the session. I think he has made a mistake somewhere. And he is out in the Aston Martin. He is a reserve driver for this season. So you will see him changing teams quite a bit in this upcoming season. ABD then still on his lap for whatever reason, not using his ERS.
Or maybe he just forgot to flick it on, because that's something that drivers tend to do at times. Like, you keep it off on your outlap, and then there'll be times when you forgot to just turn it on. Could it be one of those cases? Not sure.
Could possibly be. Although I think the game does force flick it on for you, and he's turned it on now.
Yep. I guess we're just focusing on his outlap, or maybe he just aborted that lap, whatever the case is. I think he's just starting his proper attempt right now. So as you can see, ARS is on, and he is on a proper hot lap now.
Yeah, we'll come back to him in just a few time. Watching TV Dog. Okay. Steel Sneeze. Is he going?
He'll also be going into the pits.
We'll go back to APD. APD on his lap. I think he was just doing a warm-up lap to make sure the tire temperatures did come in, because obviously you can see that the weather is slightly cloudy. So I think these guys are struggling a little bit with the temperature. I think his front right tire is also slightly bugged, because there's no way he's consistently picking up grass on his lap. Or maybe he is pushing the track limits, being was leaking. 7th gear, DRS once again turned on, entering into the final sector.
Yep, this sector is also quite crucial. I mean, this corner has been reprofiled, although it still has the same characteristic of a 90-degree corner, but it's kind of reprofiled now, so it is a bit more easier, but still it can catch you off guard. So gotta be careful there.
Most certainly. And APT has tackled even the final corner well, not pushing too much by the looks of it. Comes across the line, 18.2.
118.2. Nice. That's a really good lap time, by the way. I mean, considering that it's not the optimal tires that he was on, maybe like one lap older. I think it's still very great time. So I think he can actually do a bit more better if he's on a proper tire from the start.
Yeah, I think that one lap could be hurting APT in just one way. Just as we go on board with them, that shot.
I think the McLaren is on a lap. Gear shift guru. And that's one of our new signups. And yes, Mr. Singh, he is also on a hot lap right now.
Gear shift. Let's see what he can do. Erratic movement slightly. I don't think he's on good. That his controller or could. Then okay, yeah, that definitely is.
That definitely is a connection thing I can see, but hopefully stabilizes because you cannot race with cars that are, tentative on their positions on the track. So
Exactly.
I really hope that is something that doesn't happen during the race as well.
Yeah, that internet might be having slight issues right now. Hopefully, not affecting his time. Might affect a few drivers around him. Coming into the final sector. Let's go on board with him, and he's
Bought it.
That is his hit miss, and has pretty much ran through his ERS. Doesn't have much left for the rest of this lap. Being cautious with the gear shifts, but still making a bit of a mistake, going off wide slightly with the DRS turned on, and in that beautiful Aaron coming across the line. That's off.
Yeah, that the penultimate. I mean, we are on board him for like 2 or 3 corners, and all those corners that didn't look that optimal was going too wide and not properly utilizing the track. So either that was his banker just wants to put a lap in, or I don't know what the case was, but we'll see.
I think he was struggling a little bit beforehand to set a lap, so I think be a bit cautious and just make sure he gets that lap in. And for the keen-eyed of you who might have seen the bottom of the screen, a returning name, Satvik Reddy, has joined the lobby, and of course he will also be driving in the final dying moments of this qualifying. 4 minutes left, and he pretty much has maximum of 2 laps, 2 flying laps to set here. So let's see what Satvik can do, while we also see Wizard of Oz provisional pole, car number 9 in the Alpha Tauri. Deepak, take us on board with this.
Yep, we are now just crossing turn 2. Wizard of Oz is already having the fastest lap, looking to improve even furthermore and establish his dominance in this race right now. Coming up to turn 3, very tricky corner, just slightly grazes the outside curb, and turn 4 just tactfully grazes it. Again, just touch the outside curb, not completely mounted. Same goes for this corner as well. It's like the curb usage is got to be absolutely on point, which he's probably doing it if he had asked me. Just taking the curbs the right amount, just enough that it doesn't destabilize the car, and onto the back straight we go. The DRS flaps wide open, and he is powering through that straight. And he looks, I mean, the telemetry showing that it's a slightly bad sector, but I'm not really sure. Seems to be doing good if you had asked me. And he goes off wide, and I mean, the lap is still not invalidated, but I definitely don't think that's going to be the fastest way through, though. And I think he is aborting the lap by the looks of it.
Whereas Nirvana in the sister team starting the lap in the Red Bull. Going through sector 1, we could not see his turn 1 properly, not a big issue. Coming into turn 3, using the brakes properly, coming onto throttle at the track, but there, not leaving even an inch of space on the track. Clearly, as he also invalidates
and that's an invalidation. That is exactly what I was talking about. You got to be very careful with the curve usage there. You should not overcook it, because the game track limits it's ridiculously serious. Like you slightly go off a millimeter and the game will be like, nope, you're off the tracks. So got to be very careful with that.
Yeah, the track limits on a few corners very lenient, like over here, but then in corners just like after this or right before this, as we saw, it can catch you off guard really, really quickly. And there's also one, I think, turn 4, I believe, or yeah, turn 4, the exit of turn 4, you can very easily pick up a 3-second time penalty. The track limits are extremely bugged out because you either two warnings in 1 second, or it give you just straight up timeout for. So hopefully no have that. And see Big B coming across the lane, 19.6 uptime. Satvik ready in the pits. Curious about.
I'm not really sure if he has enough time because just 1 minute and 15 seconds. So even if he goes, I don't think he'll have enough time to set a hot lap. So I think he'll just be sitting in the pits and start from the back.
That might be the case for Wizard of Oz as well, because he's completely out of the battery. He cannot improve at this point because, yeah, his battery's completely do not have that extra 100. Shows a hero though, trying to be a hero by wearing a Ferrari helmet in a Mercedes. I think being a Hamilton fan, even he's surprised that Hamilton is moving to Ferrari for the people living under the rock. Clearly, he is not getting a very good slipstream off of that McLaren was that was Mr. Singh as he retires as well after making that mistake. Great looking helmet, and I think he will be channeling his inner Hamilton as he was in our practice race just a couple days ago. He was very, very quick. I think he's going to try and challenge the top 3 for their position. Comes into this really high speed chicane down to 5th gear, revving the car out. Could have taken it in 6th. The car really will stick there thanks to ground effect. Starting the final sector down to 3rd gear, 90-degree right hand corner, taking that quite well. Should really be avoiding that curve, but that's fine. Great line by Jose Hero through there, coming through into the final 2 corners then. Not a bad lane. This final corner being very tricky to go on power, managing the throttle very well. Did not turn on the DRS until late. Coming across the line, where will he be? He'll 5, unfortunately. Not a lot of improvement. Something is better than nothing. ABD on the other hand is improved, but by only 600ths of a second. He will have to put in a big final sector to make sure that he end up in that P1. Otherwise, he will might have to settle for P2 or even P3 because Tier-2 is not too far off.
Yep, like I said, the top 5, top 6, it's quite close. I mean, exception of Wizard, of course, he's just being on another level today. But if you can see right down, it's quite a tight pack. And I think ABD has improved even more. He's gone into 18 flat, 18036. So that's a great lap, great improvement from ABD. And we see Steel Sneeze is rounding out the final sector, and he has aborted his lap. Okay, so probably he had some mistakes. Same goes with the Haas of Aishwarya Raikkonen as well. So yeah, I guess we're done with the hot ups. I think we have few drivers, but I think it's all done as far as I can see.
It is certainly all done in this the final standings. For the race, Wizard of Oz takes away the pole with a 17.8. ABD only 2 tenths behind him. 18.0. Steel Sneeze. P3 Rossi P for Williams are doing a job here. Jose here 5 P19 and 6. Aishwarya Raikkonen P7. Edok P8. SP9. Vettel Bihari Vajpayee rounding off 10. Big B P11. Deadshot P12. Nirvana P. Here Shift Guru and Mrs. P14, 15 respectively. Vipul P16, Pokeplayer P17. Satvik Reddy, who has a lot to prove in P18, and Path, who unfortunately cannot put in any lap time in P19.
Yep, that was a tight quali, not going to lie, because the top 5, top 6 has been putting some very close lap times. So really looking forward to see what kind of a race we are going to have.
Certainly, and apologies, sorry for that little bit of a mishap. I just had to make sure something was done.
Alright, so I think Wizard of Oz has so far proved that he is quite fast, and ABD is very close to that as well. I mean, 2 tenths, but still it is considerably close enough. So he might have some challenge to look forward to Wizard of Oz. Probably he might be having to look into the reviews and look at ABD charging at him, probably. But yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to look forward for.
Yeah, that is a lot to play for. I think a strategy could play out into the hands of these guys as well. because they are teammates who are pretty much right next to each other, especially the Williams guys, and then Jose is not too far behind in P5. So I think some bit of strategy can come into play. I think anybody might tell Jose to hold up the two guys in front of him to, I guess, leave ABD completely alone to try and challenge Deadshot. Apologies, Wizard of Oz, but otherwise I don't see anything else happening. The Haas guys who are in P6 and P10, I believe, they are doing not too bad uh, themselves.
Yeah, definitely the Haas and the Williams are you're doing good. I think William fans are going to have tears in their eyes and they actually see a Williams putting up P3, P4 performances. So at least somewhere they're winning something. So yeah, some good performances.
Absolutely, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see what happens in the race. A lot to play for these guys, and a lot to prove. Obviously, for the new guys, the Haas team especially. Will their performance be as good as their wordplay with their names? Who knows? We'll have to see what they can pull off in the race. At least by judging off of the social race that we had, or rather the practice race, they did do quite well. So I think some bit of expectations for them, but nothing too much otherwise.
All right. So if you are returning from our past league races, you might think the race has started, but no, it hasn't. It's just a formation lap right now. Yes, guys, the formation lap is back on. Game has fixed the issues, so we are going with formation lap. So drivers have to manually warm the tires, and I think Simply might have explained about the warm-up procedures. You just got to ride the brakes and the throttle, just put the heat into the brakes, and hope it radiates onto your tire. That's how you do it. But also you got to be careful that you don't hit someone on the formation lap because ghosting is not on. So you make a slight tap with someone, the game considers it as a severe collision, and back to your grid spot you go. You don't have hot tires, you just have ice cold tires. And guys around you are going to have fresh and toasty tires, which is not a good thing to have. So very crucial phase this one, if you had asked me.
It certainly is, because if you also collide with a driver, yeah, you get reset back, and of course your tire temperatures also get reset, so which means that you will be starting with absolutely dead tires.
And that is not something you want to have, especially in a track that has a very, very tight turn one like this. So gotta be careful. And we got some interesting tire choices here. I mean, Steel Sneeze and Satvik Reddy going for hards. I mean, Satvik Reddy, I can understand his tire choice, but Steel Sneeze with the hards, I mean, that looks like quite a bit of a gamble, or was that a mistake that he did not intend to do? Not really sure.
Would not have been a mistake. I think what he's practiced is a medium, a hard medium or a hard soft. And if he's going for the hard soft, that is a very aggressive strategy that could result in big stuff if he can obviously keep his nose clean and pull it off. But that also means that he will have to be exactly on the pace. Satvik makes sense. He's starting from P18. Might as well go for the hard soft. And Wizard was disqualified, which means that he did not park up in his grid properly, giving ABD just another bit of edge. And looking at the Mercedes team, we see there are a lot of people in there. So definitely going to be chaotic in the VC. But I think, yeah, I think he is in the best of hands. Both him and Jose. So. Yeah, let's just see what the Mercedes guys can pull off as a final car. A lot of disqualifications, people not being adjusted onto the grid, and that is it. So 5 red lights.
And
It is
lights out. The race is about to start, but still not moving up. I think there's
Now
a bit
it
of a
has.
delay. Yep, and ABD's got a good launch. He's already up ahead. I think that parking spot really made a huge difference, and ABD has taken the lead. And we see Williams just jostling and pushing out Wizard of Oz, and the Williams takes P2. Williams of Rose is taking P2, and the other Williams is also attacking the Alpha Tauri. Wizard of Oz clearly not having a good start. And Steel Sneeze is going at it, and the Red Bull is poking at them right behind. So Wizard of Oz is really, really struggling at the start over here. And we see the Red Bull of BK19 is going off, and we're already seeing the collision warnings coming up. Not even warning, just straight up penalties. So gotta be some serious collisions. And we see an Alpine missing the entire front wing. So chaotic start as usual.
Oh,
And that's a DNF. That's really unfortunate. And oh, gotta be careful there.
careful,
that's-
guys. They are lucky that Steel Sneeze is out right in front. I'm not sure what's happened to him as well. In the middle of the track, that could be a penalty. Oh, and that's an Alpine. It's all kicking off over here. What is happening?
McLaren.
Exactly, Alpine, McLaren, Aston Martin. Oh my god, there's a Mercedes as well in that. I think that's Jose Hero's involved in that. This Aston Martin of Big B, I think he's missing a wing or not. I'm not sure what's happening. But it has all kicked off here. Virtual safety car to calm these guys down. Satvik Reddy up into P10. What a start for him on the hards. And Steel Sneeze not good for him. He's out. Mr. Singh also out in Poke Player. Of course, we saw him crashing out. So not the best start to these guys. A lot of pressure onto Rossi not to perform for his team, because otherwise they will be losing out on massive points as Nirvana also pulls off into the pits.
They probably fix the nose cone damage, which it's quite common in this particular track, and seeing that many collisions, it's of course expected that some cars are going to be boxing for a wing change. And you see Jose is also coming into the pits. He's going for a wing change as expected, and he's gone on to a set of mediums. So yeah, like I said, I think the decision of hards on the Steel Sneeze, I think it might have backfired, considering the fact that there is not a lot of grip on offer, and the guys around you, if you're going to be on softs, you're going to be hustled into making a mistake or just pushed around. So probably that could have been something of that sort. And BK19 gets a DT for speeding under VSC. That's always a threat looming under VSC. Gotta be careful of the delta. And I think BK19 has fallen foul of that, and that's pretty much his race kind of thrown into the bin, if you were to ask me. Gonna take a lot more to recover from that.
Yeah, and clearly we're talking about recoveries. These Haas guys have recovered quite well up into P5 and P6. And after BK19 sells a drive through P4 and P5, a lot of points these guys will be taking away automatically. There's a bit of a battle happening in the back between Mist and E-Dog, also known as EP10. E-Dog in the Alfa Romeo. Mist letting E-Dog overtake him. I think this could be strategical, because DRS will be coming up just the next lap, and it is better to pass with the DRS than to fight completely for it. Yellow flags, and that's Whipple out of this session. BK19 serving his drive through, and virtual safety car once again. So if anything, it's played around into BK19's hand, because he won't be losing out on as many positions as he was before.
Yeah, that's a bit of an interesting timing, but just a little clarification of the rules. I mean, a bit rusty on this. So you're not allowed to serve DTs under full course yellows like this, right? Or is it just during safety car? Just correct me if I'm wrong.
It is under full course yellows.
Interesting.
So I think the game has let it go, because he was pretty much halfway down the pit lane by the time the VSC came out. So I think the game let him have it. But otherwise, in real life, I think there would have been a slight investigation about it. Although I wouldn't think they would take it too seriously, because it is obviously, pretty clear that his drive-through was pretty much served, and it was unfortunate timing that it did happen that way.
Yep. So I mean, it's still a lot to do. I mean, it's not like it just reduced the positions that he had lost, but still, that's considerable amount of positions he had lost. Coming from P4, he's dropped down to P10 now, and again, he's got to be. I mean, this is applicable to all the drivers. They've got to be careful and have an eye on the delta, which could suddenly just spike up and go down into the negatives. And if that happens in the green flag, then you are, you are on a very bad luck on that time, is what I would say. And we're on to green flag. DRS has been enabled as usual once the VSC goes off, and we see the top three are much closer together, and they're in a DRS train as it stands. Oh, that was really weird to see. I mean, well, he was just following him, and he just suddenly just swerved to the left. I don't know what was going on there. That was a very, very weird crash to be honest. But thankfully, he has his nose clean, doesn't have wing damage, so he's at least lucky in that aspect. Still don't know how he survived that without any damage.
Yeah, I mean, that was really unexpected of someone like Rossi, and it was just weird to see what was that. I think there was some collision here that could have happened that luckily ABD did manage to avoid, and the path getting a 3-second time penalty as well for track limits. So the track limits warning just 4 laps in have started to kick in, and I am sorry, but can I mention the fact that the Haas guys are up into P3 and P4? Clearly they have some amazing luck going for them here.
Yep, I mean, it's luck, of course, yes, but you gotta be there to take it, and those guys are so far keeping clean and just marching together up ahead. So Nice progress, and hopefully they'll be hoping to do much more and just stick where they are rather than going backwards. So still 25 laps to go, so a lot more distance to cover, a lot more can happen. So they've got to keep their cool together and keep doing what they're doing right now.
Exactly. They just have to keep a calm pace. They have DRS enabled. Just keep going in that DRS, and
Oh
no!
no!
Big collision. Satvik Reddy spins. Unfortunately, his car does not ghost. That collects Gear Shift Guru with him. Both the McLarens out in just the first round. Caution in the final sector. His car is right there on the service road. Rossi getting a 5-second time penalty. I think he wanted to take the gamble of going into the pits with a safety car coming out. Clearly has not worked out. Tejas Sharma saying that apparently the car who spun at Rossi clipped the rear tire on the grass that was there, so that has completely ruined his race. But he's on to hards now, and he can go on until the end, and very close with Jose Hero right there on the exit. Both the Mercedes powered cars could have been out there, and it is lucky that Jose managed to avoid it by inches over there.
Yeah, that was very, very close. And this is one of those pit exits which just directly bleeds onto the racing line. So, yeah, a lot of care, a lot of caution needs to be done, which was kind of thrown to the wind there because when it comes to position, you don't be cautious about it. You just go for it. And that very nearly costed both of them. But somehow both of them are staying up good. They're pointing the right way. And we see a ghosted car. That's a ghosted Aston Martin. I guess that's Big B. I think he's having some connection issues. So hopefully he's right back because this is not good for his race. The AI just drops down like a brick. He needs to come back as soon as he could. And we're all about Mist right now, who is just minding his own business. I think he was involved in a lot of chaos. And we see some more action going up here. Parth is getting passed by BK19 with some very late aggressive swerves. But I think he might have compromised his line there by going a bit too off. And Parth might have another run on him.
And who has a run for the win now is once again Wizard of Oz. ABD making a crucial mistake, has dropped down from that lead 1.5 seconds behind Wizard of Oz, and clearly with hot tires and these softs which really love to pick up wear. I think this is close to the end for this stint of ABD because these tires have most certainly taken a beating.
Yeah, I mean, as he said in the start, this track is particularly heavy on its tires. And you see, Parth is really struggling. Satvik Reddy is piling on the pressure, and Parth is just doing whatever he can to hang on over there. But I'm not really sure if he can do this much more because he seems to be struggling quite a lot.
Yeah, and multiple cars disconnecting at the same time. There is something going on with the lobby. I'm not sure what. But yeah, Satvik Reddy, ABD, and I think one more car, I'm not sure who, also disconnect. Oh no, that was Gearshift Guru. Well, he's retired. But yeah, it is a bit odd that ABD and Satvik Reddy both left the lobby at the same time.
That is a bit odd, so I guess it's time for you to go and have a check.
I'm checking on my phone right now, so let's not worry about that.
And you see a car is taking an off-track excursion, and that is the Aston of Path who has gone off track. So he's clearly struggling for finding the proper limit over here. He already has some truck penalties on his head, and he seems to be making a lot of mistakes and struggling quite a lot.
Yeah, and this lobby issue as well has clearly put a bit of a gap between these guys. It was reducing, but yeah, otherwise it seems to be so far so good.
I guess ABD has joined, but I just saw a message that ABD has joined. Could you verify that, please?
ABD has indeed joined, but he is in control of his car.
That's great, but as you can see, like, he was disconnected for a few seconds and the gap just went from 1.6 or 1.7 to some odd 5 seconds. So yeah, you really don't want any disconnections. It really puts you down like a rock, so gotta be careful of that.
Yeah, these disconnections, of course, not what you guys wanted, but I guess you can't really pin it down onto them as well because of the game just being in a somewhat alright state. Sometimes things like this happen. Satvik Reddy is still dropping down. He's not back in the lobby. His teammate has overtaken him. And yeah, the race will continue. And even without these guys, of course, few disconnections should not come in the way of the hood here.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we can't just. Disconnections are something that is quite common when it comes to online sessions like this, and it's just part and parcel of the whole thing. It's just like motorsports. You don't know what kind of stuff is going to come around your way, so just gotta take it in your stride and move on. There's nothing else you can do other than that.
It is what it is, I guess, is a great way to sum up
Yeah.
what's happened. But yeah, I think Syed was even in this race. No, he was not. So okay, not sure what's happened there. But yeah, few drivers are having some issues, but otherwise, I think it's completely fine.
Yeah, so far on the track, looks like all the cars are spread out. They're doing their own race programs right now, except Edog, who was in the DRS range, but then he slightly made a mistake there and he's fallen out of DRS range. So, yeah, technically there's no car in DRS range at the current moment. And like you said, the Haas is up ahead. They're going together in unison and they're maintaining a steady 1-2 second gap. So, they seem to be doing a really good job of climbing up the field together. So, again, tears in the eyes for the Haas fans seeing such teamwork. But yeah, gotta see that.
Yup, I mean, it is hard to believe that after the recent decisions of Haas, if there are any Haas fans left, but if there are, then I think yeah, they'll absolutely be delighted to see at least some, success, if not in real life, then at least in the game, with the help of
And
equal cars.
you see, there was a move made by Jose Hero on missed, and Mr. spun out, and that is in turn one, I guess. Yeah, that is in turn one. So again, that is a good overtaking spot, but you got to be on the limit, and both of the drivers need to be careful. And I guess that was not the case here, and Mist has been spun around. So we did not catch that, but hopefully we'll catch a glimpse of that when it comes on to Westward Report site. So yeah.
Yeah, and clearly something is happening between these Haas guys. That gap, which was 1.5 seconds, has now boiled down to just about 8 or 7 tenths here. So either Vettel Bihari Vajpayee is struggling, or some team orders are coming into play. Could be any of it. And just as I say that, commentator's cars, Aishwarya Raikkonen making a bit of a mistake, and the gap is now back down to a couple tenths. E-Dog, we can see right on the tail of Parth over here. Parth in the Aston Martin. So it is Ferrari power versus Mercedes power, and clearly E-Dog, despite being lower on the ERS, has made the move on Parth. And Parth clearly not going for the push strategy. As you can see, 90% on the ERS. I think he has the most amount of ERS. Having a look, but not going for it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Parth would have given up the move in turn one, but he was just hanging onto it with all his might and just making it as difficult as he could. But at the end of it, E-Dog just brute forces his way through there, to be honest, because the ERS was just day and night. Like, Parth had almost a full battery, and E-Dog on the other side has completely depleted it to trying to get past. I think that might come back to haunt him, because this is the section where you need all the power that he can, and having that battery power less is going to hurt you a lot. As you can clearly see, Parth is making a move around the outside, and E-Dog has nothing to answer for that. And Parth makes that move done, makes it look super easy though.
Yeah, that move was pretty much sorted there because of, the DRS. How long that straight is, the amount of speed that you need through there, plus the absolutely strong slipstream in this game. That pretty much sealed the deal for Parth making a move there. And I think some car spinning out might be one of these guys between Nirvan and Rossi. Moving on forward, we can see BK19 has closed up onto Deadshot despite the setback that he had with the drive-through. So clearly BK19 and Jose Hero both on the comeback drive here.
And we see this scrap is still going on between E-Dog and Parth. It's been back and forth. And is that raindrops that I'm seeing?
That is rain.
Okay, that's an interesting bit of a curveball thrown into the race. I mean, clearly from the start we could not see the weather because there were some issues with the telemetry, I guess. So I was among one of those clueless members who did not know what the weather was looking like. So looking at this, BK19 is on the charge. He's just going past Deadshot with all that speed, with all the TRS. So I mean, the rain is starting to come down as far as I can see. So I don't know how many nuts these guys have, but sooner or later, decision point is going to come where you're going to have to box for inters. So I don't know when that's going to come, but that is only a very interesting point to judge. And Wizard of Oz has already come in to the pit box. Maybe he thinks the
Is it
crossover
for
point is
inters?
already reached.
It is for
Yep, he's
inters.
going on the inters.
The rain has increased up quite a bit in just a matter of a sector here. We need to see what the track conditions are like. There is no puddles just yet, but the rain intensity has increased. Clearly, soft runners will be struggling a bit. A lot of drivers just coming into the pits here. Deadshot 5 second for speeding in the pit lane. Both the Haas guys could have made a bit of a gap between each other so that their, obviously their pit stops would have been unaffected for both of them. There will be some gap forming. Of course, Satvik still has to pit because he's on the hards. All the other drivers out on track clearly think that it's not the right time to pit just yet. But we can see Wizard of Oz is absolutely gaining heaps of time. So this might actually be the crossover point. And if you do not pit beyond the end of this lap, I think it might be game over for you.
Yeah, I mean, when Wizard of Oz pitted, it looked a bit early because I thought it was still not ready yet. But with the slight moment that we are on board ABT, we saw his car sliding out. Could be because of worn tires, but could also be because it was just losing a lot of time. And you see, mediums of BK19 is just struggling, where Wizard of Oz is just hustling him from the back, just almost as if he's not even there. So yeah, clearly I think the inters are starting to work a bit better, but gotta pay more attention to the tire temps right now, though.
Yeah, the tire temps will be dropping quite quickly. APD getting a 5-second penalty. People forgetting that there's a track penalty that you get if you speed into the pit lane, and it is not something that they want. Wizard of Oz getting very close, as we saw there with BK19, who's pulling off into the pits. Where will ABD come out? Behind Wizard of Oz. Now the question remains: can ABD make up that gap in the remaining 16 laps that are left in this race? And perhaps close in on to Wizard of Oz. Question is, will the rain intensity increase and will they go on from there? Satvik Reddy and Parth. Okay, Parth's not in control of his car, but Satvik Reddy has decided to stay out on his hard tires. I don't know what Satvik is doing, unless it is indicated that very, very shortly the rain will be going away and it will be drying up really quickly. Then Satvik could be cooking up a banger of a strategy. Otherwise, I think, this is one of the worst decisions that I have seen.
I think he is going for the Hail Mary here. He has nothing to lose, so he's probably betting on a safety car or something to come so that he gets a cheap pit stop. But he's really struggling right now. As you can see, the Haas of Vettel Bihari Vajpayee hustling him from the back, just with so much grip, so much purchase on the tire available. Whereas Satvik is just a passenger right now. So I see the track has clearly gotten a lot more damp, a lot more wet. So I don't think it's going to be working for Satvik, and I kind of guess his window for a safety car, hoping for a safety car, is kind of past it. So he's got a box and cut his losses.
Yeah, I think whatever these guys who have stayed on Nirvana, Mist, Big B, Parth, of course, unfortunately was not.
And you see E-Dog and Deadshot going side by side through there, and the Ferrari of Deadshot having a bit of catchy moments here and there. But they were going side by side through a very, very fast place, and I was really hoping that they don't crash out, because that's not something you want to see every now and then.
Yeah, and I think this might have quickly turned into full wets as well, because the whole track is flooded right now in Sai Tarun. Yeah, why Sai Tarun? I was about to say, brought up a good point. The track is clearly very, very flooded. But why is the TRS on? How does this make any sense? What is happening? Because why? There clearly is not a lot of grip, and there we go. Now the DRS gets disabled. I think it was one lap a little too late for the DRS to get disabled, but hey, at least something is better than nothing. And Deadshot making a slight mistake has brought Aishwarya Raikkonen right back into this battle. And moving up ahead, we can see Vettel Bihari Vajpayee, who has pretty much secured a P3 here, and just as I say that, eating up a bit of grip. And Aishwarya Raikkonen picking up a 3-second time penalty. Jose Hero also with the 3-second time penalties. We'll have a look at the penalty situation at the end of the race. We can see a bit of a three-way battle between BK19, Aishwarya Raikkonen and Deadshot happening. Aishwarya Raikkonen on the outside. This collision between Deadshot and Aishwarya Raikkonen. He gets sent off. Where will he rejoin? behind these guys, and now there's a battle happening between BK and Deadshot over here. BK clearly ahead of him, and I'm pretty sure he'll be glad that he wasn't side by side with Deadshot after what happened just a corner ago for too long.
Yeah, I mean that was very weird to see from what Deadshot did there. He did not turn in at all for the corner. He turned in very late, and clearly that sent the Haas into the grass, and that is not something that he wanted to do. But clearly lost some positions there, but he of course got the pace to recover back from it again. And like you said, BK19 did not want to take any chances, just making it clearly ahead. And you see Jose Hero is right now putting the move on the Haas, going side by side into turn one, and the Haas just wisely gives up the position there. You do not want to be side by side through there. You always risk, getting a DNF or causing some damage to your car. So it's always better to back off and fight, live to fight another day.
Yeah, in the rain, especially on this track, you don't really want to be taking a lot of opportunities, and obviously being in the potential to cause a few damages here or there. Oops, I missed it. But yeah, let's have a look at the penalty situation. ABD with a 5-second time penalty that he got by speeding into the pits. Same with Deadshot. Jose Hero passing Deadshot round the outside. Man, he's turned the afterburners on even in that Mercedes V6. Clearly pushing quite a bit. Although he has used up quite a bit of his ERS. I think he's taking too much liberty with the ERS. But otherwise, he is clearly much faster than these guys. And yeah, BK19 as well as Jose, Aishwarya and Parth all having a 3-second time penalty. So they'll have to create that 3-second gap. Otherwise, they will be pushed back down by 3 seconds in the final standing order. These are the stops as well. Rossi and Nirvana both having to make 3 stops. Everyone else.
Oh, that's the Red Bull of BK19 in the wall. Oh my god.
That is an unexpected mistake from
And it's a
BK19.
safety
That is
car.
a safety car. The first one of this, and this is the great equalizer of all of this. And I think Nirvana's lapped and Miss was about to be lapped as well, as we can just see a Ferrari up the road from Wizard of Oz. And yeah, Miss will be lucky because usually you get trapped in that whole safety car thing, and then obviously you have to be ahead of the leader and behind the safety car, so which means you're guaranteed lapped and you have to let them by, and your whole race is ruined. Whereas Miss can get away now, but yeah, that was a very unexpected mistake by BK19. This will bring everyone together, but my god, the first 15 laps of this race were extremely chaotic.
Yeah, it was right from the start. The cars were just all over each other's backs and just causing a lot of collisions here and there. And that final corner, it's always a bit on the edge of the traction. You always got to be on the limit to get the absolute best out of that corner. And considering that the track was damp, it was even more risky at that time. And I think BK found it the hard way that you should not accelerate too much on the curb. And I see Wizard of Oz is making a pit stop as expected, so that he could have some fresher tires or maybe wets, I don't know. But I think probably he may be just going for another set of fresh inters so that he could reduce the tire wear. And same goes for ABD as well. ABD is also coming into the box, and I think he might serve the 5 seconds as well. So that's a penalty cleared. I mean, but again, the game doesn't allow you to serve penalties on the safety car, if I'm correct, doesn't it?
Drive-throughs, no, but these 5 seconds, I think he might be able to. Let's just say, I don't think he has served that 5 seconds. And oh no, he has, yeah. So the game
It
allows
has been
it.
cleared.
Yeah, so the game does allow it, and he's still in P2, right in front of Lido, who has not.
So he's got a free pass then.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really lucky for ABD there, this talking with the safety car and everything. So that's a very big ballast removed off his head, and he just now got to focus on nailing the restart and emulating what he did in the race start, getting a good launch and beating Wizard of Oz on the line. So that's something he's gonna have to be paying close attention to. And we also saw a few more 5-second penalties for speeding into the pit lane. One of the Haas getting the 5-second penalties, so that's not going to help their cause. But again, 12 more laps to go, and there's a lot of stuff that can go down.
Yep, and I don't know what ABD is trying to do here. Side by side. It was good that he's backed off. But yeah, that was a bit odd from him to try, and I don't know, was he trying to glitch his way past the Wizard of Oz? Clearly that wouldn't have worked. But yeah, if ABD can, as you mentioned, get a good start off of this, he certainly can fight for the lead, especially with his nice E-Dog and Jose. Oh, yeah, let's not forget Jose, who's also there. Has shown amazing pace in the wet. He could be there fighting for it as well. And instead of it being a Haas P3 and P4 as it was for a majority of the race, it is, I mean, of course, they moved back down to P7 and P8, trying to take a risk on the inter tires, new inter tires, which I don't think they should have done because they were in a good position. And anyways, it is hard to overtake on the wets. And as long as they went mistake free, they would have kept those positions. But yeah, I think these guys are pretty much sorted as to where they were from the beginning, and it is all out war once the safety car goes in.
Yep, and the restarts in this track, as we all know, it can be a bit chaotic. We've seen that happen in a lot of times, both in real life and in the game as well. Because sometimes we've seen this particular strategy where the driver takes almost until the finish line to go off. We have seen that strategy causing some chaos. We've seen sometimes when the drivers behind get too eager, and they had to back off, and that caused even more chaos in the back. So it's always one of those tracks where the restarts provide a lot more chaos, and you gotta be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, we'll stay on board with the leaders and see what happens. And obviously, we'll not forget the mid pack. And one more thing that I like to mention, for whatever reason, EA or Codemasters, whoever it was, they decided that it will not be a good idea to put wet TT in this game. So you only have dry TT being time trial. So you essentially have to guesstimate what your setup will be in the wets, and considering it is approximate weather, it won't even show them the actual weather when it will rain. So they had pretty much close to no idea as to how much it will rain, when it will rain, and if they actually even need to increase their wings and then change their setup according to that or not. So yeah, these guys have that in a sense a great equalizer, but then also in a way not so much, because it's just annoying to deal with things like that. Deepak is away right now, but yeah, we're just waiting for the cars in the back of Nirvana and this catch up, and then we'll be going. Oh, what's happening over here? Oh, that is Safik ready hitting for some reason. Is he changed his wing? Has he picked up damage? I mean, doesn't look like it. Why is he boxing for just another set of tires? I mean, this makes close to no sense. I mean, he was in a good position, and now he's going to be in the bottom 3 of the cars that remain. I don't think this is a good decision by Sat. There's what is 10 laps remaining in this race, I guess. Whatever pit stops were required have, I guess, been done. And yeah, it's just straight up racing for the next couple of laps. Nothing more. Hopefully these guys can avoid the chaos that will be coming, and yeah, Mist and Nirvana have caught up to the pack. This will be pretty much green flag racing until the end. Hopefully it is, because another safety car obviously will not be good, and it does have a higher chance. Yes.
All right, I'm sorry about that absence, and I think I'm right back on time. I just saw the safety car in this lap message, so yeah, now is a crucial time for these guys to watch out for.
Yep, safety car restart. Everyone will be weaving. Not really required. Just use your brakes, guys. Why are you adding extra tire wear to your tires? But anyways, the leader will have extra temperature in his tires anyways, because this game once again feature not a bug mindset.
Oh, I think Visitor has got to back up a bit more. Like, you can always see the throttle cuts happening, so this might be a bit of a chaotic restart.
Yeah, the safety car is not fully in yet, and he has gone. While the safety car is still going into the pits, as it just entered the pits, and we have restarted over here. A bit of gap from everyone. One of the Haas drivers pulling off to the side to try and avoid collisions, and we can see both the Aston Martin, Big B, and Parth side by side next to each other, and clearly something's happened up ahead of them. Rossi trying to make a move, but being shoved off wide. And there's absolute chaos. There's sprays pretty much everywhere. I can't really see well, but yeah, we can see Rossi going down the inside of Big B, and that is Nirvana getting past, and that's a wing flying away. Nirvana getting past Parth here, so both the Aston Martins being caught quite off guard. Parth also picking up another 3-second penalty, which can be removed, to be fair, because that is a place which is most likely a glitch spot, and so he might have gotten an unfair 3 seconds time penalty. Moving up ahead, we can see APD all closing in on Wizard of Oz right around the outside of Wizard of Oz. Both of them side by side. APD still trying to stick the move on the outside, and he does, but he goes off wide. Luckily, so does Wizard of Oz. Not the worst of exits, but they're both side by side now, slightly wheel banging. Coming into the final sector here, none of them willing to give up at all, still keeping it side by side. And I think, oh, APD brave sent by him, and he has made the move stick, and this has pulled E-Dog right back in. Big B has retired from this race, hopefully no safety cars.
Yeah, I mean, that was some spirited racing we saw there. And oh, ABD had made a mistake, and Wizard of Oz is caught off guard, and E-Dog just goes from P3 to P1 in a matter of just one corner. So it shows how tight the stakes are, how high the stakes are, and how tight the pack is right now. One mistake and you're down like anything. So these guys have got to be careful. And you see another side by side where Rossi is on the move. He is attacking Deadshot, but Deadshot is not giving this one up, and he goes off track and he loses 2 positions in one corner. Just like I was saying, one mistake and you are down. You got to be careful on the restarts.
Yeah, that is a horrible situation for ABD and Wizard of Oz. Jose Hero will be delighted by it because he's not too far from the pack. They're going 3 wide, and I don't know how we almost missed out on that. We can see the leaders have reshuffled once again. The E-Dog back into P3. Jose Hero coming to try and make a move on him around the outside of E-Dog, and is ahead, using up all of his ERS, and now using the slipstream of Wizard of Oz to try and get past. Has to make some slight mistake, and E-Dog once again right back past him up into P3, and E-Dog once again will be looking to defend his P3 from Jose, and obviously attacking the guys ahead because they are very susceptible to mistakes right now.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are right now just need to keep their bearings calm. They need to keep it calm. They're making a lot of mistakes here. They're in a rush to make the moves, and they're making a ton of mistakes here, which is really helping ABD and Wizard of Oz just streak away from them. So they got to be careful. They got to just work as a team, at least for a short term, so that they have a chance at the race win. But so far, it looks like every man for himself. And you see Satvik Reddy is trying to make a move on the heart of Raikkonen, using all the battery energy to get a clear commanding lead onto turn 1. And he gets that done fairly uneventful. You see another battle up ahead. The Haas of Vettel just trying to get back at Jose Hero, who just has made the pass. So both the Haas engaged in a tight battle, and it's a good. I mean, I would in dry conditions it is a DRS train, but it's not a DRS train right now. But cars are very, very close to each other. Got to be very careful right now.
Yeah, both the Haas's with massive penalties. The Vettel Bihari, Vajpayee with 5 seconds, and Aishwarya with 6. He just picked up another 3 seconds, so this is not good for these guys, because yeah, but obviously a lot of positions are to lose considering how tight the pack is. Apologies from my side there, but yeah, this is going to be a lot of positions lost if both the Haases cannot pull away from the cars behind them very quickly. Clearly Satvik Reddy not letting Vettel by at all. I mean, he's just on his gearbox and he's putting that constant pressure on him. We can see Aishwarya making a bit of a mistake just in the background there of the shot. And yeah, I mean, Satvik is closing in, still trying to make a move, and I mean, he's pretty much guaranteed a P4 here thanks to the penalties of the guys ahead of him. E-Dog clearly has backed off a bit as to not make a lot of mistakes and then obviously push, because he's pretty much guaranteed a P3 unless of course he does make a big mistake, although it is unlikely at this point. Avery trying to keep that 1 second gap to Wizard of Oz, and that is Jose Hero and Vettel very much by going side by side. I think he was momentarily ahead, but Vettel managed to keep that position and he remains in P4.
I think Jose might have done a mistake because he was clearly up ahead, but he just dropped down. So probably he made a mistake into turn 1, and that has allowed the Haas to get back to P4 where they were before all this chaos ensued. So some bright spots for the Haas, but again the penalty is looming over the head, and we see a car just going into the wall. That's Jose Hero. He is in the wall, and his race is done. And wow, this is throwing flashbacks to the actual race. I mean, we're gonna have like 2 or 3 lap finale. So yeah. But that looked a very interesting game. Probably he cooked it too much on the curves. I don't know really what happened. And yeah, that's a very sad end to the race. He had a lot of pace, but unfortunately, you gotta finish a race. I mean, pace doesn't count. So that's a bit of a sad end to the race. But he still got a lot of positives to look forward for in this race.
Yeah, as you said, just like the real life race as we saw last year. Couple lap shootout, the last maybe 3 or 2 laps or something around those lines will be a proper shootout. And yeah, I mean, this is just the first race, so not a lot has been lost, but yeah, I mean, that's still. Oh, Rossi
Oh no.
He's picked up a drive through under the safety car. That is his race also over. Is he trying to serve it now? Oh
nope.
My god, what is that? Hitting the wall and luckily not picking up damage. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Rossi tried to do there. I don't think he knows that you can't serve a drive through in the pits, and he almost ended his race because of that. And under the safety car, it would have been very, very embarrassing. Luckily, he's gotten away with basically no damage.
I mean, I was just about to say, let's unpack the previous race restart and the safety car race at the previous one. Rossi was really calculated and precise with his moves. Like, he wasn't overly committing, but he was just decisive enough to get the the move at the apex and was able to do that good. That was quite nice to see. I was just about to say that, and he just gets a DT. So I don't know what kind of a commentator's curse is that. I just thought of it, and this kind of stuff happens.
Well, I guess we're giving penalties just by telepathy, I guess now. So we're ruining races. So I think it is better for us to not think also of any driver, because otherwise the next thing we know, Wizard of Oz is out of the race.
And got to talk about that lead battle that AVT and Wizard of Oz had for that entire third sector. That was so good racing. Like, we expected, I mean, usually speaking, these corners are some of the trickiest corners to go side by side through, and AVT made a fantastic move on the outside, and credit Wizard of Oz. He backed out at the right moment and he was attacking him again and was going side by side through the third sector, which is quite commendable without of course going into the wall or taking out your opponent. So that's some really fantastic racing there, and if anything, more of that, please.
Absolutely, more of that. I think we'll have just one more lap of this, because the guys behind are about to catch up, and Path is back in the session as well. He joined some point in the middle of all of the chaos, so that is good. And that is
and Rossi is going into the pits again.
Rossi,
I mean,
please, is nobody there to talk to him? Is his teammate not there in the VC with him or something? He's pitting unless he has damage, which I already knew about. Yeah, no, this is just time waste and positions gone. And I think he was expecting to serve the drive-through, but unfortunately, he will have to go at the end. And anyways, he was going to be last, and now he's going to be even further last at this point.
yeah, that's I mean, anyway, the DT came out, it was a death knell to his race, so why not just go out with the fresh tires? Probably that was his case. I'm not really sure. But either way, like you said, not really helping his race.
I mean, it's pretty much over at this point, despite all of the efforts. He'll serve his drive-through, he'll be like 20-30 seconds behind the rest of the pack. It's pretty much sealed up here, and the most he can do is just bring it home in P11, which is still points because it is top 15 points, but of course not the points he would be getting if he was further up ahead.
And you remember what I said at the start, before the race all started? I said, you just keep your nose clean, keep away from traction penalties, and you're going to get a good position. Now you look at Sathik Reddy. Man started at P18 or something, and
Yeah.
he's up into P4 just because he managed to keep himself out of all those fears going around him. So that's how important it is to have a clean race in this.
Exactly, and this is despite him pitting like 2-3 laps late when the track was clearly flooded with all of
Oh
this rain.
no!
Oh, is that missed? That is missed again.
That I saw a Ferrari colliding into another Ferrari, so that's some friendly fire under safety car conditions is very weird to see. And yeah, this whole
What
thing is going
is
to be a very big
happening?
chaotic issue right now.
Everyone slowed down. Go, guys, go. What are they doing? Dead
Yeah,
shot
well,
5
they might have
seconds.
probably got that hand over the position back, that kind of a thing, and I think that's caused a lot of chaos here.
That
Can you
will
go
be
on board the
removed by
leaders,
the.
please?
Yeah, we are on board the leaders, and yeah, that penalty will be removed by the stewards. They should have not slowed down. That has held that whole last pack up. They're far behind the lead pack, and yeah, they will be losing out on a lot of time. As we
And
can see,
ABD has gunned it. He has gone for a typical restart, nothing too fancy, just doing the normal stuff. But that means that he's going to be that much predictable, and Wizard of Oz is much closer, and he's closing in, as you can see in the Delta. And so far, so good. Guys are maintaining rank and file. And you see, Satvik has made a move on E-Dog, and we see Rossi has made a move on Path, which is not going to be counting a lot because he's gone to serve DT. But you see, both the horses going side by side, right behind E-Dog, and very wisely backing out of that. That could have ended in a very bad situation there. So yeah, some good team play going on, good awareness. So that's nice to see. Up ahead, ABD is still maintaining his lead. So manages to got his restart sorted, and E-Dog now gets a 3-second penalty, which means that he has got to hustle a bit more now because the horses are right behind, and they are going to be having some free positions now, courtesy of the 3-second penalties.
Yeah, I mean that is a guaranteed P4 for at least Vettel Bihari Vajpayee. Let's look at the penalty situation. Yeah, not for Aishwarya, but definitely for Vettel Bihari Vajpayee, and that will be a solid points takeaway if there is no penalties happening here. Rossi picking up a 3 seconds while he also has his drive through. Vettel making a great move, and no, he goes off wide. Has to let E-Dog by, and hits the one. That is definite damage. 4 wide. His teammate pushing the cars ahead of him right out of the way. That is Nirvana going off wide. Aishwarya is also up into P6 now. And yeah, that has not gone well. The commentators curse into full effect for the Haas guys. We were looking so forward to this. And that is someone spun out. That is Satvik Reddy who's also spun out. So Deepak, that is your commentators curse also into play. Because this has just turned from one to another. Nirvana, I was just thinking about how he could end up in P3 because of not having penalties. And there you go. He has a 3-second penalty. My God, we have absolutely cursed these guys, and that is him up into P4 because Aishwarya and Parth both went off wide, completely off the track, eating the dirt, and that puts Nirvana up into P4. Missed route right around the outside of Parth. Aishwarya picking up 3 seconds, and my oh my, what is happening?
Yeah, all started with when that pass of Vettel just got a bit too greedy and went a little too off, and that started a whole chain effect that caused all this chaos, and yeah, that really ruined the race for a lot of guys behind, including his teammate, of course.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has happened in a matter of just a lap, and one mistake has spiraled down into his teammate being in P5 and him being in P10. And yeah, that is not what they were looking for, when they started the race off in solid positions. And of course, we're at P3 and P4 at one point, so I think it is too late for them to come back as well, with just 2 laps remaining as the leaders start the penultimate lap of this race. These guys clearly not willing to give up. The Satvik Reddy almost hitting the rear of Parth, and Satvik will be moving up quite a few positions here. His final position, I don't think he might be P3, clearly not, but yeah, definitely a good point scoring position is on cards for him.
Yeah, I mean, right now if Finish, you get points. That's the situation we are in right now. But Satvik definitely has a chance to maximize more with the pace that he has. But the cars up ahead are not making it easy. They are on their own battle, and they're being a moving chicane for Satvik. And when Satvik goes around the outside, it's 3 wide into turn 4. That's not really good. And somehow he manages to squeeze past both of those cars. That's some excellent racing there from Satvik, and some good awareness from the Haas of Aishwarya. Oh, goes off the track, and Yeah, could be. I think that could have explained the reason why he might have slowed. But the telemetry shows no damage, so that's a bit of an interesting picture we are seeing there. Probably just a mistake creeping in at this point.
Yeah, could be. I mean, it's too late to make mistakes, guys. Penultimate lap. Aishwarya also having 9 seconds. He's gonna be finishing in P9 at this point. So, well, it is what it is. That is a very chaotic race that hopefully will no longer be chaos, at least for the final lap. And talking about the final lap, I mean, ABD absolutely dominant in this race, pulled off a great strategy and has obviously shown his pace. Had a good start, kept his lead, made a mistake in the beginning letting Wizard by, but he has shown that he is boss, and he has stayed ahead in P1 as we begin the final lap, as it's almost pretty much halfway done. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts to sum up ABD's race? Like, definitely a big banger out of the park.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was one of the contenders from the start. He is known quantity, like we discussed in the start. So I expected a bit more fight from Visitor Wars, but I guess AVD just had that much of a commanding restart, because the restart was on point. His race starts and his APK restarts were absolutely on point, and Wizard of Oz was really struggling in those aspects. But I think Wizard of Oz might be the fastest driver of these two, but when it mattered, ABD punched it and he got the absolute victory in that phase of the race. So I guess that's where it all counted. I mean, he might have got a bit lucky with the penalty, but again, like I said, you got to be there to take that luck. So really kudos to him for doing that. And that will be a well-deserving win and a really great way to start off his Tier 2 campaign.
Yeah, not the best for his teammate Jose, who has retired in P12, will not be scoring points. But hey, at least ABD has managed to grab away 30 points. Not sure who has the fastest lap, but one thing I do know, that the fastest driver in all of Tier 2 so far in this race has been ABD, as he comes across the line to win the Australian Grand Prix. Wizard of Oz in P2. E-Dog, well, let's see where will he finish, because it could be that Satvik Reddy ends up in P3 because the gaps are so close. Ida crosses the line P3 on the track. Where does Satvik? Satvik is on P3! Satvik finishes in P3. My god, what a recovery drive from him. And this is on his comeback race as well. After so many seasons, we are seeing Satvik drive as a full-time driver, and he has knocked it out of the park by going from P18 with barely any practice to P3. I mean, I'm out of words for the way he's driven, and the kudos to him. He genuinely deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, from the start, he was kind of put on the back foot by that late join in quali, which meant that he had to start from the back. And I would say he made the most of whatever he can, and showing once again why he is such a revere name and why he wanted him back in the league racing circuit. So, deservedly the driver of the day. So, great job from him. And overall, I mean, Australia is known to be a race of attrition. It was the same case here as well. A lot of people crashing out, a lot of people getting caught up in some incidents. But overall, I would still say there's a lot more positives that these guys can take from this race. Like Jose Hero, who DNF, but still had some good pace. Same goes for the Haas guys as well. Had some really good rhythm going at the start, only to get upset by a few mistakes here and there. So they definitely got a lot to unpack, a lot to learn from this, but a lot of positives also. So really looking forward for the rest of the season and seeing how they could improve as drivers and how this tier progresses. Really excited for that aspect.
Yeah, a lot to play for. 11 races remaining in this season. My god, I mean, if this is what we have coming up ahead of us, I am very, very excited to see what these guys can put ahead of us. And of course, we'll have a few drivers joining us for the podium interviews, hopefully. And obviously, we'll be asking how things have played out in their perspective. But yeah, I mean, we do have a few challenging races coming up in the calendar as well. But hey, if this is how these guys are gonna go, because Australia is not any less challenging in itself. If this is how these guys are gonna play it, then yeah, I mean, that is something to look forward to for sure.
Yep, certainly. And as you said, that's been a good start And while we wait for the drivers, we also got to let you guys know that this is just tier 2. We got tier 1 coming up later today. So yeah, a lot more exciting times ahead. So yeah, should be good going forward. So simply, why don't we take away the podium interview? I guess we have a race winner here. So why don't you just take us forward?
Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can get a few more drivers to come in. We do have ABD here, obviously. In the meanwhile, yeah, just ping the other drivers as well. Let's get everyone involved. I mean, I am genuinely out of words, guys. Uh, the 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 people that are watching. I mean, this was one hell of a performance by these guys, and yeah, I think Deepak did sum it up quite well as he does leave us now. Oof. Anyways, I think we just are these drivers not going to join? Okay, no worries. Okay, then I guess we'll begin with the podium interviews. ABD, the only driver that we have here in the comms box with us. How would you like to describe your race? I mean, you were off to an amazing start, but then unfortunately towards the end, not towards the end rather, but in the first end itself, you made a bit of a mistake. Wizard had to get past you, but then you pulled off an amazing strategy, showed amazing race pace, and of course clean racing as well. And yeah, you absolutely knocked it out of the park, winning this race by a big margin.
Yeah, thank you. But first of all, thanks to the mentor that I had in my VC, that is Inc. He kept my goal, like let's say each lap's goal, even my mind to the point. He brought me back to attention every time I was just losing it. And yeah, it was good to drive. It was hard because I did not have practice or the muscle memory for the steering with the controller, but it was there. I kept on improvising because Ink told me what wrong I was doing there, and that definitely helped. It was a good fight from Wizard, and fortunate, I would say he was a good contender. Even in the quali, the lap that he has said was just amazing.
Yeah, and obviously off to a great start. Unfortunately, your teammate Jose did make a bit of a mistake, and of course has lost you guys some point by retiring from this race. But what do you guys have planned? What have you guys planned for the upcoming races? What do you guys plan on doing to obviously mitigate the mistakes and maximize on the points? Because you guys clearly are looking in contention to get away with the constructors.
Definitely, we are, and Jose is not someone you can keep him aside. He will be back, definitely. I know that, and yeah, it's just the season start, so we're just getting used to it, we can say. And even the weather was the little. It has pushed us a little off, but yeah, now we know what to look into, what to practice for, and yeah, I do believe that Jose will perform better, and yeah, we both together will definitely improve ourselves.
Right. Great showing by you, APD. Thanks for joining the podium interviews. Best of luck for the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to Wizard of Oz, our driver in P2. I know we usually go P3, P through P1, but yeah, these guys took their time in joining, of course, celebrating. So we'll move on to P2 now. Wizard of Oz, that was a great qualifying lap by you, and it was clearly it was at least showing to us at least as early signs that you could be winning the race by a decent margin, but yeah, some things happened. Can you go through with us what happened? Because in the beginning we did think that you would win quite easily, but then the rain came through and then the pace just dropped off for you.
Yeah, I actually parked my car wrong on the grid race start. I had a pretty bad start actually, but as it went through, maybe for the first quite 7, 8 laps, felt good. Setup felt really good, but uh, an unlucky safety car maybe, and my setup just did not work on the rain, and just got unlucky today.
Fair enough. What do you have planned with your teammate for the future? I mean, what do you guys plan on doing? Because yes, it is just the first race, but it is also the stepping stones of what is to come in the season. And I'm guessing, obviously, full push from the both of you, especially you, to try and contend with ABD for the P1.
Yeah. We you know how strong Vicious is, so he was not there today. So when going forward in the coming weeks, we hope we can work together. So this is a good result for us. So I know he has the pace as well. So maybe we can work things out and try different strategies, and we'll try to beat the rest of them. That's it.
That is the mindset we love to see. Amazing stuff from you. Congrats on the podium once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Satvik, I mean, coming back to league racing as a full-time driver after so long, and just I've been starting in P18 with no lap set in, and then finishing on P3. How did you pull that off, man?
Quite honestly, I would have pulled P2 or P1. So I spun in the last second lap, I guess, behind the P2 guy. If not, I would have pulled up P2 or P1. But yeah, just got unlucky a little. But I was a little late on uh, attending the race, and yeah, stuff happens. But yeah, I was having the pace clearly. I was having super pace today, but
Yep.
few disconnections, few bad luck, few bad luck was placing a role, but yet pulled off a P3. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, an amazing P3. And do you think that you can perhaps, as the season goes on, because you improved so much, in throughout the season, the previous season in season 10, and then we also saw some amazing stuff from you in social races as well as challenges series, etc. Do you think that perhaps as the season progresses and as you start to settle in a little bit, you can challenge for the P1 off of these guys, from ABD, Wizard of Oz, and the other drivers around you?
Yeah, definitely. If I consistently attend the races, if I don't have any bad luck in the place, I can definitely come, definitely contest for the driver championship. And also, the other Alpha is doing really great. He was really had a good drive. He lost the wing, but yet he managed to get the P4. So
Yeah.
I guess Alpha is looking strong. I don't know about the P1, P2 guys. They are from the other constructor, so we must be in P1, I guess. So.
Yeah, I do believe because of you and your teammate EP10 or EDOG finishing in P3 and P4, you guys have grabbed away the most points. So yeah, I think a constructor battle might be brewing between your team as well as the Mercedes guys.
Yes. Even though if I don't get the driver championship, we'll get the constructor championship. I'll encourage the other teammate to just snatch away the wins. So no worries.
Yeah, so I guess you guys will be doing a bit of team orders here then, yeah, in the coming races.
Yeah, even today we did a one team order. I was expecting to get snatch away the P2 or P1, so I
Yeah.
told him if I don't snatch away, I'll just give my position back. So he was very kind enough to give me the position. But yeah, he's doing supportive. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a team game, yeah.
Yes.
All right, Satvik. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, congrats on the podium. Hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep, you too, you too. Well, guys, that is it for our stream here today. That was an amazing showing by the Tier 2 guys, especially the leaders, and let's not forget the midfield, everyone that was involved. Despite the retirements, we saw some amazing racing from all of them, amazing side by side action, and of course, it is not over for Australia. We do have Tier 1 coming up at 8 p.m. tonight. So, in just around 4 hours' time, less than 4 hours' time, actually, 3 hours 55 minutes to be extremely exact, if you guys do like that kind of things. But yeah, amazing showing by these guys. A lot to look forward to in terms of Tier 2, in terms of the Constructors' Championship, as well as the Drivers' Championship. That is absolutely cooking. And of course, these guys are potentially the next Tier 1 drivers. So a lot to play for these guys. Talking about Tier 1 drivers, let's not forget prize pool is there for Tier 1 this season onwards, which means that the drivers not only are fighting for, IRC glory, they're also fighting for a good sum of cash. So we could see some, team orders happen or not, or we could just see some absolute chaos and so even there. Well, that is for us to find out later tonight as to see how the season for Tier 1 will roll out. in the meanwhile, that is it from me and Deepak, and of course all of the IRC team and the drivers. Thank you so much for taking part, or of course for viewing this stream from the beginning to the end. We'll catch you guys